Hello, Phoenix Church of Christ and friends joining us online in various formats. This is Forrest here, and I'm really excited today to just interview faithful, inspiring members of our church here in Phoenix, Jesse and Stephanie Thomas. They felt the call from God last year to move in the middle of their careers with their two, young daughters, 8 and 4, over to Eastern Europe to do some work there for God for a year. And so we wanted to just share some of their good news and experience some of their story. So we've asked Jesse and Stephanie to share with us a little bit today. And so Jesse and Stephanie, thank you so much for doing this for us. First off, I just want to kind of have you guys share a little bit about what Revive is that you're doing in Eastern Europe, and kind of what inspired you to make that kind of radical, leap of faith.
Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having us, Forrest. Revive is, Revive Eastern Europe is, it's a group of really dedicated disciples that wanted to, are out and with the goal of reviving churches in Eastern Europe. We have a lot of small churches in Eastern Europe that, grew a lot at first and want some help with growth again today. And so the idea behind Revive, led by Sean and Leda Wooten, was just to send a team of missionaries to one of the smaller churches in Eastern Europe and help that church with their faith and to make more disciples and get to a place where they can be self-sustaining churches that can also then go out and plant other churches. So that's the idea behind Revive. We came on Revive in September, and originally we were planning to go to Croatia. That was the goal, to go to Zagreb, Croatia. But God had some other plans for us. We came here to Chisinau, Moldova, and we were going to be here for a couple weeks. And it was great meeting the church here in Chisinau. And then just through some things outside of our control, God decided that we were going to stay here in Chisinau, Moldova, which is awesome. We've had it's been a really great experience. I don't know if they were expecting to be revived here in Chisinau, but it did. It's definitely happened. I remember Sean telling the church here at the beginning of our stay, once it became apparent that we were going to stay, that you may like us right now, but come a few weeks from now, you might not. And just because Revive is such a is just kind of such a motivating force that it changes the whole entire church and kind of stirs up the whole group and really does infuse a lot of God's Spirit, which is very disrupting into people's lives. So so it's been great, and that's a little bit of what Revive is. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and Stephanie, maybe you can share a little bit. That's great. If you can share, Stephanie, kind of about what was the motivating factors for you guys to make such a radical shift in your life.
So originally Jesse brought it up. We first talked about it when we were actually on a family trip. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and we were renting this cabin up in Sholo, and we had both, we were both at a place in our jobs where, we had come off a really busy time, and we were able to just kind of take some vacation time and just talk through this opportunity and what that would look like for our family, and if it's something we should pursue. And I think one of the things that I kept thinking about is, the scriptures come to life in different ways for people, but I feel like for us, this was really the best way that we could lose our life, in a sense, like Jesus talks about losing our life to save it. And I think that for so long, I know for me, I had really put my security in the wrong things. And I felt like, okay, there's a need. we reached out to Sean and Lena and just to see if they even had a need for families with kids on the mission team. And they were super supportive, kind of with open arms. And, we were getting advice from a lot of friends, prayer and fasting. And we just God kept opening all the right doors. And we just, we received nothing but support and encouragement. And we just thought, man, God's really making it clear that this is the time to just kind of take something and run with it and live by faith. And this was, I think, the most real way for us to really put our faith into action. And one of the things I kept thinking about is, how important it is to, sometimes you have to, it's a quote that I heard somewhere, but just about how we have to choose adventure instead of regret. And I figured this was, a once in a lifetime opportunity that we'd never regret. So.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think you've probably seen God do a lot of things personally in your own faith, in your own life, in your family. I'd love to hear some highlights about, personally, but also what are some of the highlights just in your experience, really on the mission field at this point?
Yeah, well, like I said, we thought we were going one place and ended up somewhere else, and we weren't real clear on exactly why and how, but yeah, one thing I've learned is that God is in control and his plans cannot be thwarted. So, it's both an exciting and invigorating thing and kind of a challenging thing when you're used to wanting to plan your own future. But just to highlight that experience, we originally were going to be in Croatia, like I said, and then, we ended up staying in this conference room in our conference center in Chisinau, Moldova. And then when the war broke out, that conference center became a place for refugees from Ukraine to come over, and we were able to serve them. Right. We had no idea why God would want us to stay in Chisinau, Moldova, which is a great place. Don't get me wrong, I love being there. But
it's beautiful.
We thought God wanted us to be in Croatia, and so when all of us were scratching our heads on why the doors weren't opening, now it's completely obvious. Oh, okay, the Odessa church needed us to be here because that was definitely God's plan, and just the people that we've met here. It's obviously God's plan that they were met by disciples and that for their lives to be changed. Also,
for those who don't know the geography, Moldova is on the southern border of the Ukraine. Is that correct?
Moldova's borders Ukraine on three sides.
On three sides. Okay.
Yeah, Ukraine is northeast, and southeast of where we're at. So
you could really see the hand of God there, that you guys ended up there ended up there with COVID, right? Originally, I think it was like COVID restrictions or visa issues. At
the beginning we had there was restrictions on where we could meet because of COVID, and those started like right when we got into town, basically. They had started to see a spike in COVID cases, and they shut a lot of things down. And since we had a relationship with the conference center that we had our retreat at, we just decided, this is where church is, and it's worked out really good for that. Like the whole Chisinau church had to, change where they meet, but their hearts are so in it that they were more than willing to drive to the other side of town or take a bus to the other to get to church. We're really grateful for that. But so that's been a really great place. There's a lake for baptisms there, and there's a pool across the street for baptisms, and there's it's a good center for us to be at.
How many miles are you from the Ukrainian border? Is it?
It's 3 hours away. I don't know what the kilometers or miles is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're gonna get kilometers over there.
3-hour
car drive to the border.
Yeah,
We've been taking in refugees from our churches.
Yeah. So our church in Odessa, a lot of all the disciples leaving there have spent some time in the refugee center. Here in Kishinev. In Kiev is further north, so that most of those disciples are going through Poland, but some are here too. Some of the disciples of the Kiev church are here in Kishinev too.
And that's amazing how God just kind of orchestrated that. I'm sure there's almost frustration with the plans not working out the way you wanted to with Croatia, and then now you're in a position to really do good to the believers who are going through some really rough things. That's really amazing to see how God kind of does things we don't realize, even in the hard things, what God is doing. That's going to be really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the other thing, that I've learned just from being in a different country is just that people are people wherever we go. Same concerns, same struggles, same problems, same attitudes, same desires. But the exciting thing is that you can just you can see Jesus in everybody, and that's really awesome. To be able to connect with people that just really you don't understand their culture and they don't understand yours, but you can kind of connect on a level that's higher than all of that.
Yeah.
Really you teach what Jesus taught us to do, and also just love one another in that same way that we all love each other in the church in Phoenix. So that's been really awesome to see too.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything you want to add?
Holy Spirit is more powerful than our limitations, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So true. Yeah, I think another thing that I've come away with, a big lesson I've learned, is just how God really does set the times and places in such a way for others to reach out and find him. Something I've realized is that when someone responds to anything from a church invitation or an invitation to study the Bible, that really is a gift from God, and it doesn't have anything to do with our strengths, or because I think and we're learning Russian, and we're slowly growing in our language skills, but for the most part, like, we're not able to communicate in the same way that we would back home. And so, I've definitely had days where I thought, man, we have, like nothing to offer, just really being limited and being able to, fully express what we want to say. But then just the fact that people have, responded regardless. And, I think that's been really faith building to see that it really is a gift from God, and it has nothing to do with us. He really does in places. So those are, I think the other big thing too that I've learned is just how important hospitality is. I think I underestimated the power of hospitality before, but then I think being here, just hosting, Bible talks in our home, or we had a Friendsgiving dinner back in November, just kind of sharing one of our traditions back home. And
Nice.
I think just seeing groups of our friends, and then our friends from the church here, and then friends in the community, we all went in a circle and shared things we were grateful for. And, we had a translator and served everybody chili. And I think that was one of our favorite memories here, and just seeing how, people can just really connect on a different level when we're just together in one place, sharing a meal, just feeling, just that sense of community. And
that's great.
Bible talks have felt that way too. So I think hospitality just kind of connects hearts in a different way. And we've been able to see a lot of people start studying the Bible from some of those hangout times together.
I think we might have confused some people because we served chili on the day after Thanksgiving, and they all knew Thanksgiving, but we served chili. So there might be some Moldovans that think that we serve chili.
They were looking for the turkey and pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
I think it's really a great reminder that when you step out on faith, which is what you guys really did in this decision to move your family over there and do what you're doing, that you get on a different wavelength spiritually we kind of have our normal way of operating in our normal everyday lives. And there's something very disruptive about stepping out on faith, but something extremely rewarding spiritually when you do that. And listen to you guys talk, it just you can just hear it, you can sense it. And I think back in Phoenix, we want to tap in to some of that spirit, because the same idea to live by faith can be done anywhere. It can be done in our neighborhoods, at our workplaces, in our schools. You don't have to do something as drastic as you guys did to do that. But when you do something as drastic as you guys did spiritually, I think it just wakes you up and brings you into that kind of realm much more quickly sometimes. And so that's awesome. One thing I wanted to ask you about is just, bringing, your young daughters with you on the mission field. I think sometimes as parents, we can be a little too concerned about our kids' sleep patterns and, them getting what they need. And obviously we have to provide for our children emotionally, spiritually, physically. But what are some of the rewards you think you've seen in your family with your daughters, too, just in living by faith like you have? What have been some of the things that have been encouraging?
Yeah. So, I mean, faith comes from hearing the word and from the storms. We definitely had lots of those. We've had some storms, and we've been just very involved in God's word and learning from God's word. But yeah, just in terms of how we've grown and personally benefited from our family, or how has our family benefited from being on the mission team. I do feel like it gives us all like a more just a more better understanding of the importance of what we do as disciples in terms of spreading the gospel and teaching people about Jesus. It's really on the mission team, it's really easy to answer the question, am I living by faith? and it's kind of hard to do that, or for me it was harder to do that before. Like, am I living by faith? Absolutely. I see God working through me. I see God working through the people around me. There's on the mission team itself, there's lots of encouragement and people talking about what God's doing around them and through the people that they're reaching out to. We have kind of a like a regular thing that we do during meetings where we're asked, like, how is God building your faith today? And just the stories that come out of that from 30 people, is just so encouraging and faith building. I know our girls are growing in their faith a lot. I don't know if Stephanie wants to share about this, but sometimes when she's out sharing with them or we're out sharing, she'll let them pick out who she's going to go share with, which is kind of fun. So, like, the kids will go chase people down for us and start conversations for us.
Nice, yeah.
So they feel like they're a part of things. They're very, Sean asked us, Eliana, early on, do you want to go on a mission team one day? And she said, what are you talking about? I am on a mission team, So like she sees herself as a missionary, and we want, we're grateful that we can give that to her and Selah. The relationships we're building with, extremely faithful and encouraging disciples is really, really powerful. And just the connections with disciples in other parts of the world, that is very, it puts our roots down even further into God's kingdom, and we're grateful for that. We now have friends in several other countries that we didn't before, and it puts faces with these dots on maps and such. And I don't know, I could go on, but I'll let Stephanie share too.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the girls also get excited about Friday night Bible talks. They call it our parties. Are we having a party at our house on Friday? And yeah, when we're one of the things that's kind of cool here, we love Kishinev. It's such a beautiful city, and one of the things that's really cool here is a lot of the restaurants have indoor playgrounds for kids to play in. So, and then, parents can enjoy their sit down meal while the kids play. And Eliana, most meals, she'll, run up to me and say, oh, hey, I made friends with this one kid and their parents are sitting over there. We need to go invite them to church. Like, she's definitely thinking on that level. So it's been fun. I think just some ways that it's helped our girls as well. So we actually went through kind of a rough time recently. Like, both girls picked up some kind of weird stomach virus and they got dehydrated really quickly and had to bring them into the hospital pretty quickly. And but it was definitely a different experience, something that we weren't anticipating, while being overseas and away from home. But I think, at one point, so Eliana got sick after Selah, and then they both were in the, same hospital room together, hooked up on IVs at the same time. And, what was definitely like a very, sad experience. Both of them are very good about being positive. Whenever Eliana got, transferred up to her sister's floor, she comes in the room and is like, Selah, I get to be in here with you. And it was oddly bonding as sisters and to be discharged together. And but I think even as a mom, going through something scary like that, because there were 3 nights total that we were in the hospital with them. And I feel like God just sent comfort in a lot of different ways. One of the nurses brought me coffee in this like beautiful mug and just little things. Or there was a mom I was able to build a friendship with. Her daughter was in the hospital for a similar virus, and we built a great friendship. And we're actually going to have coffee together tomorrow morning. And she was actually here from Kiev, Ukraine. And she was telling me, the story of how her and her husband, her 2-year-old and her 6-year-old, were in a car for 30 hours waiting to cross the border, having a toddler in the car, and just sharing kind of that experience she went through. It just puts a lot of things in perspective. And there's just been a lot of different conversations like that with people that are here from Ukraine seeking refuge. And we've been able to, have some good conversations with Eliana, her being 8 years old. And so I just think, I think it's helping us have a shift in perspective, just, how fragile our life is, and to really make the most of it. And, hopefully pass it on to our girls with time. So.
Yeah. And I'm sure you are, I think they're seeing faith lived out. You guys are visible representations of them developing their faith in God by what you're doing. So that's amazing. That's awesome. That's inspiring. Lastly here, we're back in Phoenix, Arizona here, and we're putting this up for our church and our friends online. And I just wondered what would God put on your heart to just kind of encourage us with back in Phoenix? Our church, what it's like to live in Phoenix, based on kind of what you've been through there and what God's teaching you. What would be some things you'd want to encourage us with? And I'm sure when you come back, which sometime in June, it sounds like you're going to be heading back over here, what would you be sharing, to us over here in Phoenix that we can learn from you?
Yeah, well, first of all, the whole Kishinev church is, really inspired by your guys' faith too. They just see, we've been able to tell them all about you guys and our church back in Phoenix. And they're just always, so encouraged by all the things that we share about you and just the things that, the things that are exciting to them are very, are just what you guys experience there in Phoenix too. So they're grateful that you guys sent us and and that we get to we get to be here. But just what can we give to you guys? I know one thing that I've learned that I was excited to share is just like I think I used to think that it was just like, you know, some individuals that were really good at you know, evangelizing, that they could help the church grow. But really, it's all about the whole church making an effort. You know, yeah, it can't be, you know, our church. None of our churches around the world will grow, you know, for any good amount of time or anything if there's just a few people that, you know, even a group of 30 missionaries is not going to help, you know, a church grow unless the whole entire church decides that's, you know, that's what, you know, that's the vision God's given them. And so, yeah, I've just been inspired by people that really do have, you know, a lot going on, jobs, and, you know, you know, not jobs that are challenging, and you know, some of the taxi drivers drive like, you know, 50 hours a week here. It's 60 hours a week here. You know, there's there, and then some of the people's jobs are very yeah, very demanding, you know, and they've got families just like we have in Phoenix, and their lives are very demanding too. But yeah, no matter where we're at, we can all step up and make, you know, make the mission that God's put on our heart really center of our lives, and all give to a common cause, and see miracles in the church. And I guess that's kind of the big takeaway I'd like to share with the Phoenix Church. I know you have some insight too, Sweetie. So
yeah, you know, that's good. Yeah, I think that maybe just to piggyback off of that, or, you know, something additional, I've really seen that God just has this amazing plan to use everyone to have an eternal impact. And I could not agree more. Like, I feel like it's such a good point that Jesse shared, that it's not just a few people having deep convictions on reaching out or sharing faith or having certain gifts or talents who would build up the church, but it really is the whole church. Like, I feel like our convictions have grown in that more than ever before. Like, whenever we've seen, you know, the baptisms that we've seen, and just how inspiring that's been. I mean, it really is a group effort. I mean, it's, you know, whenever you encourage someone visiting church for the first time and helping them to feel welcome, or just having a coffee with them, or inviting them over for a meal, and just getting on your knees and praying for them, you know, that their Bible studies that they'll continue to, you know, grow in their faith journey. Like, all of those things are so powerful, and God uses each of us in such a unique way. And yeah, one of the things I've thought a lot about while we've been here is, man, like, I can't wait to, you know, partner with our friends back home. I mean, we just have, you know, such a gift with the Phoenix Church, and we love and miss you guys so much. And so we're, you know, definitely excited to just continue to partner together and hear great news stories about, you know, what God is doing in Phoenix as well. And yeah, and I think too, I think coming here as a family, I mean, there have definitely been times, like, you know, where maybe our availability hasn't been the same as like the singles and campus full-time missionaries, for example. You know, for example, when the girls were in the hospital, you know, Jesse and I were doing a lot of tag teaming, and when, you know, we were back home and trying to help them get healthy again, it was a lot of tag teaming. And we just realized, okay, every Bible study that we're in, it makes a difference. And we're just going to surrender and trust that God is going to maximize the time that we have to give anytime we've had kind of down seasons like that. And so I think that's just been encouraging for me to see that, okay, even as a family with, you know, differing schedules or demanding careers, or, you know, whatever it looks like, God is going to take what you have to give and just multiply it and make such a big impact with that. And so everything we have to give, it really does echo in eternity. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think you know, if we all just give whatever little we have, time, resources, faith, and really give that to God and the mission, God can do some extraordinary things. It sounds like that's one of the lessons you guys are really learning. And then I love the idea that, you know, the Phoenix Church of Christ, we have about 600 members. We should have 600 missionaries here in Phoenix who are really seeking and saving the lost, that we all have something to add to that, I think is so powerful and so biblical as well. And so I think your guys' story, what you're doing, kind of emulates that. It gives us a real life example. So thank you so much for your faith. Thank you so much for your hard work over there. We're very excited to share good news with Eastern Europe from Phoenix and all those kinds of things. I'm sure you guys will keep us connected even when you come back to what you've done over there. Well, thank you so much, Jesse and Stephanie, for taking time. I know you're busy to really encourage our church and our friends checking this out online. And we look forward to having you back and partnering back up here in Phoenix. But until then, we will be praying for all the work over there and all the great work you're doing, even just taking care of the refugees from the Ukraine. And yeah, we look forward to getting more good news, here in the next few months as you close out your time there. But thank you so much, guys, for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks
Love
for
you
having
guys.
us, Forrest.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.